Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, let me tell you something that genuinely scared me. I went in for a routine checkup last year, totally fine, feeling great. And my doctor casually mentioned I should start thinking about my bone density. I'm 38. I almost choked on my coffee.
Right, and that reaction is completely understandable. But here's the uncomfortable truth. By the time most people think about bone density, the process of losing it has already been running quietly in the background for years.
Which is exactly why we're talking about this today. Because this isn't a conversation for your 70s. It starts in your 40s, maybe even your late 30s. And the choices you make right now are the ones that actually matter.
We're going to dig into the science, the practical stuff. And yes, we will absolutely address the people thinking, I exercise, I take calcium, I'm sorted. You may not be as sorted as you think.
So let's start with the basics, because I had no idea how any of this actually worked. What is bone density, and why does it suddenly become a thing in your 40s?
Right, here's what I've learned. Bone is living tissue. It's constantly being broken down and rebuilt in a process researchers call bone remodeling. You have cells called osteoclasts that dissolve old bone and osteoblasts that build new bone.
Okay, that already sounds like a tiny construction crew running around inside you.
Essentially, yes. And up until roughly your late 20s, the builders outpace the demolition crew. You hit what's called peak bone mass. After that, things start to tip the other way, gradually.
So your 40s are when the demolition crew gets a bigger budget?
That's not a bad analogy, actually. Particularly for women, the drop in estrogen around perimenopause dramatically accelerates bone loss. The National Osteoporosis Foundation estimates women can lose up to 20% of their bone density in the 5 to 7 years around menopause.
20% in 5 to 7 years. Y'all, that is not a gradual drift, that is a sprint.
And for men, testosterone decline is slower, but the loss is still real and still clinically significant. It just tends to arrive a bit later.
So why don't we feel it? That's what genuinely unsettles me. I felt completely fine.
Because bone loss is entirely silent until it isn't. There's no pain, no warning signal. The first symptom for many people is an actual fracture. Researchers at the International Osteoporosis Foundation describe it as a silent epidemic for that very reason.
And fractures in midlife aren't just inconvenient. They can genuinely derail your life, right?
Hip fractures especially carry serious long-term consequences. A 2017 study in JAMA Internal Medicine found that up to 30% of older adults who sustain a hip fracture die within 12 months, often from complications. The bone breaks and then everything cascades.
Okay, I need to pause here and say, if this is resonating with you and you haven't had a bone density scan called a DEXA scan, please bring it up at your next doctor's visit. This is exactly the kind of episode we make because we want you to feel empowered, not terrified.
Well said. And speaking of which, if you're finding this useful, this is a good moment to ask you to like and subscribe to the Wellness Rhythm Show. We're over on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It genuinely helps us reach more people who need this kind of conversation.
Yes, please. It truly means the world to us. Okay, so let's talk about what actually works. Because I think most people hear bone density and immediately think calcium supplements, and then feel like they've done their homework.
Right, and here's where I want to be careful, but also a bit direct. Calcium is necessary, absolutely. But the evidence around supplementation alone is more complicated than the marketing suggests.
Wait, really? That's the thing everyone does.
A large 2011 meta-analysis published in the British Medical Journal by Bolland and colleagues raised concerns that high-dose calcium supplements may increase cardiovascular risk in some populations. It's contested research, still debated, but the point is that supplements are not a straightforward fix.
So food-first calcium? Things like dairy, leafy greens, fortified foods?
Generally, yes. And critically, vitamin D, because without adequate D, your body can't absorb calcium properly. The two work together. Many people in northern latitudes, and actually many people in general, are deficient in D without knowing it.
Here's the thing, though. Let's get to the part that actually surprised me the most, which is the exercise side of this. Because I always assumed walking was enough.
This is where the research is really clear and really specific. Weight-bearing aerobic exercise, so walking, hiking, dancing, yes, it helps. But the most powerful stimulus for bone formation is resistance training and high-impact loading.
Can you break that down? Because loading sounds like something a weightlifter does, not a 45-year-old trying to get through Tuesday.
Fair. When you put mechanical stress on bone, osteoblasts respond by laying down new mineral. It's called Wolff's Law. named after the 19th century anatomist Julius Wolff. Basically, bone adapts to the forces placed on it.
So you have to challenge the bone to get it to rebuild itself.
Exactly. A landmark study by Kerr and colleagues in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that high-intensity progressive resistance training produced significantly better bone density outcomes than low-intensity exercise in postmenopausal women.
Okay, but I know exactly what some of our listeners are thinking right now. I have bad knees. I've never lifted weights. Isn't heavy lifting dangerous at my age?
Right, that's a legitimate concern, and I want to address it directly. The Lift More trial, conducted at Griffith University in Australia, led by Dr. Belinda Beck, specifically studied women with low bone mass. High-intensity resistance and impact training actually produced significant improvements in bone density with a very low injury rate when supervised correctly.
So the fear of it being too risky may itself be the risk?
There's something to that, yes. Avoiding all loading to protect your bones is counterintuitively making them more fragile. But I want to be clear. Supervised correctly matters. Work with a qualified professional when you're starting out.
Now, I do want to have a moment of honest friction here because David and I actually had a back and forth about this before recording. I personally find it really hard to prioritize strength training consistently. Life gets in the way. And David, you were a bit, shall we say, unsympathetic.
I said, and I stand by this, that the evidence doesn't really allow for a convenient alternative. I understand life is busy, I have a demanding job, 2 kids, but the biology doesn't negotiate with your calendar.
And I appreciate that truly, but I think the more useful framing is what's the minimum effective dose? Because go lift weights is not an actionable plan for most people.
That's actually fair. Research from the American College of Sports Medicine suggests 2 to 3 sessions per week of resistance training, targeting major muscle groups, with progressively increasing load, is sufficient to produce meaningful bone adaptation.
2 to 3 times a week, that's manageable. That is genuinely manageable.
And it doesn't require a gym. Bodyweight exercises like squats, lunges, push-ups all count. Adding a resistance band significantly increases the stimulus. It's about progressive overload, not a particular location.
Let's also talk about the other stuff that works against your bones, because I think people underestimate lifestyle factors here.
Yes, important. Smoking is directly associated with reduced bone density. Excessive alcohol, more than 2 to 3 drinks daily, interferes with osteoblast function. And interestingly, very low-calorie diets are a real risk factor, particularly for women who have been chronically undereating in pursuit of a certain body weight.
That one hits differently, the diet culture piece. People spending decades restricting food and inadvertently creating a bone crisis.
The research on that is fairly sobering. Long-term energy restriction reduces estrogen, which, as we noted earlier, is a key protector of bone. It's a layered consequence that doesn't show up for years.
So to bring this together practically, DEXA scan if you haven't had one and you're over 40 or have risk factors. Food first calcium and get your vitamin D levels checked. And move your body in ways that actually load your skeleton.
Squats are genuinely doing more for your future than you probably realize.
Okay, if you take one thing from today, make it this. Your bones are making decisions right now based on what you do with your body this week, this month, this year. The silent part doesn't have to mean the hopeless part. You have more influence over this than you think.
Right, here's what I've learned from all the research. The best intervention for bone density is the one you actually do consistently. Start with 2 resistance sessions a week. That's it. That's the entry point.
Y'all, thank you so much for spending this time with us. If this episode opened your eyes even a little, please share it with someone in your life who needs to hear it. A friend, a parent, a sibling, and of course, like and subscribe wherever you listen or watch. We'll be back soon with more of this kind of conversation.
And perhaps schedule that DEXA scan. Consider it a gift to your future self. A remarkably sensible one.
This show is part of the VoxCrea.AI system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
go to VoxCrea.AI and request a sample episode.